Come to find out, right before I finally just cut with this guy, the dude doesn't actually own the business. So the Genius Garage Lykan Hypersport build update is long overdue. And the car has kind of gone off the radar for some time, and people have been asking about it. Longer story short, it is in the paint shop right now with all the composite body panels being aligned perfectly and zhuzhed up, shall we say, and getting this thing preparation for having that world caliber paint finish. But it's really disappeared for a while. Last year in 2020 with the Genius Garage students was the mass of the entire build of the car. So naturally, we're actually creating a real car with this body shell used as the stunt car for the Fast and Furious live show and Fast and Furious. And it's really exciting because you learn, sort of like finding the frog DNA in Jurassic Park, you start to learn and appreciate what the original Lykan Hypersports really are, with this being from the original molds. We had a nice relationship started where W Motors had reached out to me and offered some assistance with students or technical advice, things like that. So that was really nice. And in getting toward the latter part of the year with the students, most of their time through Genius Garage in 2020 was coming to an end toward the end of the summer. You know, classes are going to be starting up again. And they had a really great curriculum through in building the Lykan Hypersport build. But also, we got the yellow Corvette out, prepared that, went to a great race at Road America. So it's the opportunity to have the teamwork and, you know, meet even more people. And through the racing that we were doing with Genius Garage as well, like in Hypersport, got at least 2 students that landed career jobs immediately. One student had gone to, I think, UTI for a year, and he really wasn't getting anywhere after that. He was working at Napa, but he just wanted more for life. Came to Genius Garage, got with the race cars, got with the program, and actually he's working for Extreme Experience now, preparing all their exotic cars for track days, and just happier than a clam. I'm really happy for him. So that's neat that launched that. Another young man who was kind of an MVP with fabrication and really just dove in head first with the Lykan build. When we were at Road America, he was talking to people and meeting people, and there was a company that does restorations and builds on pre-war Bentleys and Delahaye's and old Miller race cars, and they even still have a foundry and cast and machine engine parts from long ago and vintage race cars, and actually he ended up getting hired by them full time. So that was really amazing. But the Lykan was not done. It was a car. We tested it in Mid-Ohio. The platform was amazing. The chassis was one that I was super happy with what we all did together, because I knew that we could throw a huge horsepower twin turbo engine at this and bigger brakes, and the platform that we created would be absolutely rock solid for it. So even in testing it with the stock naturally aspirated Porsche engine, we were crushing it initially in testing. I mean, just leaving high-end production cars with guys normal to track days in the dust. Z06s, Porsche 911s, BMW M3s, things like this, just honestly crushing them. And that was with the stock Porsche engine. So the paint was starting to make me apprehensive, because obviously it has to keep going, and there'd be new Genius Garage students coming the next year. Through my car contacts, got a hold of someone that owned a body shop up in the Michigan area. I'm gonna be a little vague, which was part of a very, very big chain. And they had the ability to, of course, do collision repair, work on composites, and paint cars to a very high quality level. They liked Genius Garage, and he liked the ability to get the exposure, showcase what their business can do. So offered to, in fact, finish the body panels and paint the car. And I'm like, okay, that's great. That makes me feel a lot better, because I have a lot to arrange. And I believe it was in December that took it up into Michigan and up there, and, you know, entrusted them to that. And when you're working with somebody in regard to a project like that or a collaboration, still lots in life comes down to a handshake or having the right relationships and entrusting people to do something, because you're working on something together. They want the positive exposure. Obviously, I want Genius Garage to be able to have the best product they can and finish the Lykan world-class status. So I'm going to give the guy some space. You know, it's not a normal type thing. Obviously, we agreed to, they're going to be getting right on it, and over a couple of months, it's going to transform. And so I just leave him go for a few weeks, connect with them, and I had to send the mirrors up to them to get painted and whatnot. So I connected with them, got the mirrors up there, and I started to think something's off a little bit, because the language he was using was that they're keeping it going, but nothing much is happening. And I start to worry about it. I'm like, they haven't touched the car yet. A week or two goes by and I connect again just softly and seeing where it's going. It's like, well, we had to order a bunch of composite things and epoxy and such to work on it. And I'm thinking, okay, but why didn't you do that weeks ago? I didn't say anything, of course. So more time goes by, and then is not picking up calls the way I would expect. And I talked to my friend that originally connected us, and he's like, I don't know what's going on with the guy. But cutting to the chase with it, because actually there's a bigger, better part of the story. But this just shocked me to no end because I suddenly had this horrific realization. The car's not being touched. Now it's been a month and a half, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And I know this guy was very excited about the Lykan being there because that's his opportunity to showcase to customers, look how great we are. We've got this project that we're doing. But it hasn't been touched. And I've been in the car business long enough and having a mechanic shop in the past, having a race prep shop, doing the work, I can tell when somebody's BSing me. And you can tell through the language when they answer or don't answer or dodge. And I finally just pushing on it harder. Come to find out, right before I finally just cut with this guy, the dude doesn't actually own the business. He directly represented to me and all of the people in the car circle around that it was his shop. Turns out he was a GM at best, but we didn't know. So we found out later and I'm panicking because I'm like, oh my God, we have like one of the most famous builds out there at this shop with this guy. And so I remember talking to him on the phone and I pushed him harder and I started figuring out what's going on. He's like, and one day he finally calls me. He's like, yeah, we can't work on it. So you're going to have to come pick it up. And I'm like, expletive. Not immediately to him, but I was flabbergasted because the problem is, it's not that they can't paint it or I can't go pick it up. The problem is he just wasted 2 months with nothing happening. Not only those 2 months, but the months before when we had already arranged to do it. So myself and Genius Garage with the build, we lost, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, just gone. And so I find out what the deal is with this guy. And I didn't care. I laid into him on the phone because I just put it out there with what he had. Like, you're screwing us. You don't get to just shove this over. Like, you're going to do this. You're going to muscle up and do it right. And of course, at that circumstance, would you even want the guy to touch the car? No. But I kind of panicked a little bit and I ended up writing their corporate, like headquarters, going, I think we have a little bit of situation and I think that we should work together to handle this in the most right way. This has got me greatly concerned. There's a person representing that own the business. They don't. They've got a very prominent car. And I was worried because I wanted to get the car out of there. So where it became kind of funny in a horrific way, the other general manager, or perhaps the actual general manager of this shop, calls me. And I didn't know who it was. I saw the number being in Michigan. I knew it wasn't the original guy because I didn't even want to talk to him at that point. He calls me up and he goes, and this is great because this was such just a cheap tactic. He asked me, he's like, why do you think this car is here? And I said, would you like to elaborate on that question? He asked me why I thought the car, because the Lykan was just magically at your paint shop. Just accidentally, of course, it's inferring. And I said, well, as per many months ago, I agreed with this person that we were going to be painting this for the sake of exposure and showcasing the business and everything you want with the nonprofit, and it was the collaboration. And he's like, yeah, I have no interest in that. Pick up the car within a week or we'll have it impounded. Click. Which also tells me they're worried if he wants to try to play that tactic. But I'm also worried because I have been around the car game long enough to know that there are some unhinged people out there and you don't know what they may or may not do at any given time. And right now, my biggest concern was getting the car out of there as quickly as possible, safely, where it wasn't screwed up. And now my mind's starting to go a million miles an hour. I'm like, my God, what have they done to this? What if they screwed around with it or broke things or this and that? And I remember the day that I went up there to pick it up, it was cold. It was winter. And I'm getting the big truck and trailer loaded up early in the morning. And I'm just like worried sick about the car. And the person that actually originally connected me with that guy that knew the whole social circle, he goes with me, kind of as my like backup muscle, whatever. I don't usually get nerves in a way. You know, obviously racing, done a lot of adventurous things, you know, jets and sailing ships and all that sort of thing. But I was just so worried about it. I remember making a coffee, having some coffee on the way there in the morning to go pick this guy up. And I just got so nauseous. I ended up pulling over with the truck and trailer and I ended up vomiting on the road. I was that big of a wreck over the Lykan being at this place. So I picked up the guy, we went out there, and maybe I was worried for nothing, but everything was fine. The guy played nice. You could tell, like, he's probably had people all over him, but he played real nice. And they had covered the car to make it look like they really cared, even though it was clear they didn't, because when we took the cover off, there was dust all over it. It's like, you should have dusted it off before you covered it. How stupid do you think I am? But so we got the car out. It was fine. Everything about it was fine. Nothing was messed up. I don't even want to say it was a learning experience. It was just another experience because, like I said, in anything in life, it's building relationships, and every once in a while, something will bite you. And I've had that happen. You know, I've had people who I trust very well. They're very smart business people, introduce me to somebody, and then they get surprised. But unfortunately, it takes away a lot of time. But I think the best part of the story, and the hero of it is, with at VINwiki and with connections and people who have really come together to help make this possible. And I got connected with a person named Kurt who has a Porsche racing team, sports car racing team with various series, Carrera Cups and such. And it's called Advanced Collision Incorporated Motorsports. And that name, Advanced Collision, actually comes from him owning 7 different high-end body shops all throughout the South. And the one in particular where I met him was in Chattanooga. And I mentioned about the build and doing something together. And they're very nice. He and his general manager, real person, real owner, real general manager, talked to me on the phone. I just said, here's the project, here's where we're at, this is what we're doing, this is the vision. And I just love to have a great relationship and all come together as a team for it. And they thought about it and they liked the idea. So we brought it down there, and I was really touched because this is where you find that the car community can come together in big ways and small. And in this way, it was big. But they had gotten a lot of their employees at this shop wanted to be part of this build. So it became kind of like their own team, their extracurricular team to do this. And what's neat is Advanced Collision Incorporated, they're a factory authorized shop in collision repair for Tesla as well as Porsche. And the Porsche one is hard to get. And they have the platinum level certification for everything. So they're getting Porsches sent in from around the country or world to be fixed. That was the right home for the Lykan at this point. It's exciting when the build with the stunt car and Lykan Hypersport obviously is something that actually launches careers for young engineering students and technical students. It's been something the car community has come together. And now even, you know, a shop and professionals in collision work and such are getting part of that and just buying in in a positive personal way and being part of the bigger picture, which is great because that makes all of my stress as the guy leading Genius Garage that has to see the project through no matter what. Just makes it feel so great seeing the car community come together for a great purpose. And I can't wait to see the car be finished this year.
We'd like to thank Patrick Adair Designs for their support of the VINwiki channel this month. Patrick and his team make some of the most amazing rings out of the most exotic materials on Earth. They make rings out of superconductors and meteorites and stardust and all the things that you can imagine, including old parts from broken exotic cars. They've got over 20,000 customers, and Patrick decided to document his journey and the ways that he makes his rings and the cars that he enjoys on his own YouTube channel. So he's part of our YouTube family. He's coming by to tell some stories soon, but check him out at the link in the description below and use the code VINwiki for a 15% discount. Thank them for their support of the channel and find you an awesome ring.